question.
Target Center, Target Field, Target Center. That makes up the first hour and change of the 9 to noon show, and a longtime friend of the radio shows, and yours truly, Dave St. Peter, president of the Minnesota Twins, joins us now. David, sorry about yesterday, but holy cow, your squad has caught fire. Having a good time over there these days, and good morning.
Hey, Paul, good to be with you. Yeah, it was certainly nice to see our group kind of find their stride over the last couple weeks, and anytime you win 12 in a row, it's tough to do that in our game, and I think our group enjoyed that. I think our fans enjoyed it, and now we find ourselves into May and a little closer to where we thought we would be, which is fighting for a division title, and here we go with the rest of the season in front of us.
And marathon, not sprint, Mr. President. We get that, and we've known that forever. But winning 12 of 13. And still 2.5 behind Cleveland. I mean, that Guardians bullpen is fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, they're really good. We have a lot of respect for Cleveland and generally the way they pitch it. I know their starting pitching hasn't played out the way they would have hoped either. And with Shane Bieber going down, that's a pretty significant hit. But, they're well run, and they've offensively been much better than maybe what they've historically been. So, I expect they're going to be in the hunt throughout, as I do, frankly, Kansas City and Detroit. So I think it'll be a 4-team race throughout much of the summer. I still like our chances, particularly as we get some of our key guys back. Of course, Byron going down for a little bit, but Royce hopefully coming back later this month should give us another huge boost. And I like the thought of us being where we need to be come September.
Yeah, and break up those Kansas City Royals, right? I mean, hearkening to the George Brett, Freddie Patek, Mad Hungarian, Al Hrabowski days, right?
Yeah, you're right about that. It's a good baseball town. No, again, another team with really good young pitching, and Bobby Witt is turning into an elite player at shortstop. So, yeah, I think they're legitimate and they have some staying power. I believe that.
Dave St. Peter, president of the Minnesota Twins, 9 to noon. Ryan, I ain't breaking news here, man, but Ryan Jeffers is just terrific. I mean, he gets at least a hit a game on average, and the North Carolina kid has been big through the recent winning ways, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was really good last year, really turned into one of the more productive offensive catchers in the game. And, the start he's got off to is, I think somebody referenced probably all-star worthy. I think that's the case. I mean, he's a guy that can punish not just left-handed pitching, but hold his own against righties, and is also doing a really good job behind the plate. I think collectively, him and Vasquez we think we have probably the best catching in the American League. So that's an advantage for us. And, there's a lot of days Rocco has both of our catchers in the lineup hitting. So, Brian Jeffers is a guy that other teams don't want to face. We've let him off. We've hit him in the 2-hole, the 3-hole, et cetera. So he gives Rocco a lot of versatility there, and he hits the ball hard, and that normally results in good things.
When, Dave, when do we in the Comcast Covenant readily get to watch the games?
Ken, I hope so. I hope soon, PA. There's a lot of dialogue going on behind the scenes. It's a really unfortunate situation, one that nobody is winning on. I can assure you that. It's a business dispute, and in this case, the fans obviously deserve better. So, I'm hopeful that there will be some resolution in the near term, and beyond that, we're talking about a variety of different ways to try to enhance access to our games, which is an ongoing challenge across our industry. It's not just here in Minnesota. But I'm hopeful, PA, that maybe in the days to come there will be some news that'll brighten the day for a lot of our fans who just want to watch Twins baseball.
Can't even watch it on the extra innings bit, right? I mean, like you guys are playing. I can't remember who it was last week. I tried to sneak in and get their feed, and I got shut out.
Yeah, the extra innings package blacks out the local market normally to protect the RSN, but that's also those are the types of things that are being discussed, and I'm hopeful that we can find a way towards some solution. At the end of the day, it would be best if Diamond Sports Group and Comcast came to a resolution. But beyond that, I can assure you we're doing everything we can to push for greater access to our games from a team perspective.
And David, potentially stupid question here, but I mean, like the team's role in this. I mean, like how much in the middle are you guys caught? I know the provider pays the team, but nevertheless, like what's your guys' role within this whole conundrum?
Well, we don't. I mean, we really don't have a role in it. I mean, we have a business agreement with Diamond that requires them to distribute our games, and they obviously have the ability to negotiate distribution deals. And it's not the first carriage dispute in the history of the Twins' relationship with Diamond or their predecessor, Fox. Carriage disputes have kind of come and gone over the course of time. Recently, you may recall in this market, Channel 11, Care 11 was blacked out on DirecTV for several months in the fall. So these things kind of happen. They're unfortunate. And in this case, it's obviously painful because of the timing related to Twins baseball.
Right.
But, I'm optimistic that there will be some form of resolution, and the games will be back on as widely distributed as available.
And I mean, you have to hate this, right? I mean, you're optimistic, and like you said, there could be some relatively or positive news coming down the pipe relatively soon. But I mean, the team turns around the season, and many can't watch it. Do you find this to be impacting like a ton of Twins fans? I'm in the Comcast covenant, but like the split with DirecTV and stuff like that. I mean, is this impacting a large group of fans?
Yeah, I mean, this is a prominent market for Comcast, as is the Atlanta market, as is the Colorado market, the Detroit market, et cetera. So, yeah, it impacts us. We probably over-index in the impact. And it impacts us in a lot of different ways. It's obviously not just it's just not just core fans. It's employees. It's players. It's their wives. It's families. It's et cetera. So we're incented as an industry to try to find a resolution to this PA, and it's something obviously there's a lot of discussion on, and we're hopeful that we're going to be able to get there.
Is last one here? Is it David? Is it contentious? Is this a contentious situation between like you guys and Diamond or Bally Sports North or providers or whatever, or are level heads prevailing?
Yeah, I mean, I think that over the course of the last year, it's been well documented. There's been a lot of challenges that have surrounded Twins television. As soon as Diamond went into bankruptcy last March, there certainly have been times along the way where dialogue, whether it be with the league and Diamond or the team and Diamond, has been contentious. I want to be quick to point out that that's really not so much here at the local level.
Yeah.
The people that run Bally Sports North, the people that ultimately work our games are pros, and in many ways they're victims in this whole bankruptcy saga as much as anybody. But at the end of the day, I would say it's respectful, but there are certain things that we expect out of our television partner, and one of those is distribution of our games to the widest audience possible, and we're just not getting that right now. So we're going to stay at it until we get that resolved. Lastly,
Seattle here tonight. Maybe, and it's a marathon game, and this is a very short-term example or potential. But Dave, maybe with this TV viewing buzzkill, more fans will come to Target Field. Is that the serendipity at least part of the time?
Yeah, I don't really think about it that way, PA. I think that we're in an age where you have to get your content distributed to as wide an audience as possible. Hopefully, I aspire to get to a point where anybody anywhere can watch Twins baseball. That has not been the case the last few years. So yeah, obviously, yeah, I understand that somebody may come out if they can't watch. I think it has the other effect over the long haul, where it will more negatively impact attendance than positively impact attendance.
A lot easier moving the Puckett sweatshirts in the pro shop 30 some odd years ago than dealing with TV providing issues, right, David? Seriously.
Everybody wants to assign blame and this and that, up and down, and I get it. People just want to watch the games.
Yeah.
And I can assure you that's what we want as well. So we're working to do everything we can from the Twins' perspective, and I am bullish, PA. Brighter days ahead on the TV front.
Sure.
I'm really excited about what this will look like, not just down the road this season, but over the next few seasons.
Yeah, and DSP, I mean, I couldn't care less whose fault it is, but I mean, I'm one of thousands where like, all right, cool, you catch something on your phone, we're winning, it's middle of the game, I'm going to go watch it. And, then you put it on, you're like, are you kidding me with this?
That's right.
You know, I mean, then like the next, are you kidding me with this? I mean, it's just like, are you kidding me? How come we can't watch?
Yeah. Well, I would say the one thing that most people don't realize, there are actually options to watch. So there are streaming options. Fubo TV has Valley Sports North for the last several years. DirecTV Stream has Fox Valley Sports North. So, those are both options that are streaming a lot of people have gone to and understand it's a business decision.
Thanks for the Fubo steam. I'll be on it this evening before the Timberwolves game. How about the team that plays at Target Center right next to you? Holy cow.
I'm fired up about that group. There's a lot of people over there, PA, that that have been with that organization a long, long time and haven't really had that type of success. So I'm excited for those folks as well as for this team and what it's doing for our community. I see no reason why they can't keep it rolling tonight in Denver and hopefully on to the next couple rounds to win a title.
Dave, you're awesome. Thanks very much for the time. Appreciate you. Best of luck against those Mariners, okay?
All right, Paul. Be well.
Yep, see you, bud. Dave St. Peter, president of the old Minnesota Twins. Well, that whole thing's a cash thing, but it's not even in the same fishbowl and under a different rock than our cash thing, which transpires at about this time each and every hour, and here they are.
The Fan, along with BigDeck.com, they want to give you a chance to put $1,000 in your hand with the National Cash Contest. Go to KFAN.com, enter the keyword happy. Winning $1,000, I bet that would make you happy. The keyword is happy at KFAN.com. Welcome back to 9 to noon. Of course, it's time for
Vikes Bites.
Vikes Bites! Presented by Thousand Hills Lifetime Grazed Grass-Fed Beef. Whether it's online, Thousand Hills LifetimeGrazed.com, you can learn about regenerative agriculture. You can learn about what goes into and, more importantly, what does not go into this elite beef. You can shop online, or you can find Thousand Hills product at your local co-op and Coburn's locations. Thank you, Thousand Hills. I'm going to start here, PA, since the draft. And it's like, wow, what a weekend, right? You spend 2 months just absolutely every single possible freaking angle you could think of, you could fathom, you could imagine, all the steamrolling that goes into it. Then it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and it's gone. And now we're all in and we're howling. And I bet Matt and the guys at Thousand Hills are howling as well with this playoff series with the basketball team. But prior to the draft, the Vikings win-loss total for 2024 was 6.5. We talked about that. DraftKings, FanDuel, wherever you go, it was 6.5 wins. Take the over, take the under. After the draft, PA, 7.5.
Yeah, the reason I brought it up, I couldn't care less if there, is a cliched image, tired image, or whatever. Barney the Purple Dinosaur, PA's a homer. Palm radio, whatever, is what I was trying to intimate in multiple times bringing that up. That 6.5 was ridiculous. I mean, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And it may be the toughest division in the NFL, but they ain't going to get swept by all three teams. It's not going to be an 0-6. And so the 6.5 was ridiculous. Then they would shade it, as we would say in that business, where it was a big fat minus on the over. I think that thing got up to like minus 200, which never, you got to put up your 2 to win somebody else's 1 for a scoop of 3. But to put it on a 7 ain't going to happen because they don't want pushes. So you're either 5.5 or 7.5. So then they went up to 7.5, which makes sense. I mean, it's even if you think the Vikings are going to have a poor season with 1 or 2 quarterbacks, Darnold all the way, McCarthy all the way, or McCarthy then Darnold, if it has a semblance of reasonable of a reasonable season, I mean they'll win 8 games. Of what the 6.5, it'd be 7. They'll win 8 or more. I thought it was ridiculous.
And that number at 7.5, it is now favored for the over. So it's plus 115 to go over 7.5.
Wow.
It's minus 140 to go under 7.5.
Yeah.
Now I'm with you on the 6.5 being super light. Do you think that in terms of the draft, is there perspective that the team got better? And in particular, maybe it's not J.J. McCarthy that we're talking about. Maybe it's the fact that they come out of the draft with maybe the best pass rusher in said ordeal.
It's circumstance. And, it's for overly bemoaning or in again, cliched fashion, Minnesota sports can't have nice things. Of course, we lose our head coach into the newest, biggest basketball series in the history of the world. At least not losing, but he's the 1A to a certain extent. With all of that said, circumstance, I think local fans believe generally doesn't go our way. Well, it absolutely did via the draft with Dallas Turner. I mean, and we talked about it right after the draft. 14 consecutive offensive players taken may never happen again. I'd wager a lot 6 quarterbacks in the first 12 picks never will happen again, at least in my lifetime. So circumstance went the way of the Vikings. I would imagine some sharps picked up on that. But the 6.5, it was too low in the first place.
Right.
So I think, with maximum wagers permitted on futures, as they're called, like this, you can't roll up and bet 50,000 over 6.5 on the Vikings. There are limits. But clearly people exceeded the limits to send it up to 7.5. You said the under's minus 140. So the under is slightly favored there to go under 7.5. And I bet you it kind of stays right around there.
Vikes Bites! You mentioned talking about the coach and how things don't go our way. It reminded me, I had Greenway in studio on Friday. Mm-hmm. And kind of talking about 2016. Remember Zimmer in the Eye?
Yeah.
And Mike Prefer had to coach?
Oh, right.
I'm curious how much of a distraction that was for the Vikings leading into that, trying to figure that out and organize it, versus the distraction. Different games, I understand it. And Finch was on the bench. Zimmer was on his couch.
Yep.
But I wonder how distracting that truly was. And then through one game, Ant puts up 43, Nas in that fourth quarter. Every assist from Conley felt like it led to the biggest bucket of the game in those moments. But I just wonder how distracting the team. Maybe they're just so locked in it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But Prefer put up one hell of a game in 2016. Comes down to a failed 2-point conversion and a Thielen punt muff.
Wow.
But you remind me of that Thursday night game against the Cowboys when Zimmer had that eye patch on at home.
And before game one, I think it's very fair to wonder and speculate all around what you were talking about. I mean, 9 to Noon did it all week.
Yeah.
Shoot, Dane Moore NBA, he'll be joining later this week. Dane is as plugged in and as sharp with Timberwolves basketball as you'll hear. And like when I hit him on it, he's like, I don't know what to think. I mean, this is unprecedented. It's media doesn't watch practice, so therefore you have no idea what the imagery of that looks like. But it was abundantly clear with the way the game traversed, the way things developed. It was exactly the same Minnesota Timberwolves team we saw through the 4 against Phoenix.
It was.
It was cold-blooded. It was ruthless. It was big. It was imposing. It made you uncomfortable. It didn't trip out after the 18-4 lead, and then now the Nuggets passed them, where Wolves teams this season have faced situations like this, and they gotten blown out. That just wasn't the case. This team is antithetical to obviously anything Timberwolves fans have seen in 20-plus years. And I, quite honestly, if they get blown out tonight, beaten by 8, 9, 10 or more, I'd be shocked. I just can't see this being, all right, we got game one, dogs. Yeah. Let's get back and howl on Friday at Target Center. I just don't see how it can be that way because they've played in such a concerted effort with such a concerted effort and such a common thread of similarity defensively and offensively. I mean, so what is it this series, all right? Last series, you got Karl Anthony Towns on Kevin Durant. You got McDaniels putting Booker on bad enough games to open up on them. It's such a weird visual. I'm going to bring it up with Jim Pete 45 minutes from now or 30 minutes from now, is that they were so concerted on checking Nikola Jokic off the pick and roll. All right. So Jokic sets the pick. There goes the guy. They let Murray, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Reggie Jackson, Michael Porter Jr., they let them streak down the key unguarded.
Yeah.
Knowing Rudy was the Harry the Hitman free safety back there, either set to pick it off or set to blast somebody. It's such a strange visual when you let the ball handler just run free because the other guy's the best in the world. And it requires a village to slow him. So that's new. That's new. We didn't see that in the Phoenix series. The staff is still in chess mode. I never would say Malone and his staff are in checkers mode. Way too much respect for them. But what this staff did to Frank Vogel and the Phoenix Suns should be a felony in 48 states.
Vikes Bites with some Howl Bites mixed in, and it's all brought to you by Thousand Hills Lifetime Grazed. Rookie minicamp is set to lift off this weekend, PA. Feels like eons from now in some ways. We're locked in on Game 2 with the Wolves, Game 3 Friday night. Let's get J.J. McCarthy and Dallas Turner courtside. I see people tweeting Kevin Garnett to get him in the house at Target Center for the Friday night fiesta. But Vikings rookie minicamp is about to get underway. I think it's on the verge.
Your tweet was my favorite. With it just makes sense. J.J. McCarthy and Dallas Turner.
Feet on the floor.
Or did you mean Jefferson? You meant McCarthy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, feet on the floor. Game 3, howling. Let's go.
Well, shout out to those with 4 to 6 courtside seats. Let's come on, Justin Jefferson, get in there.
Yeah, seriously, if you have 4 courtside seats, say you're United Healthcare or you're whomever, you got X amount of courtside seats. You might have to put 2 L's on people because think about it. It could be you, McCarthy, a friend, your wife, whomever, or your husband, Turner. Well, think about it.
How about that?
Watching a playoff game with those guys, that would be great.
Let the corporate guys stay home. They can watch it. There'll be other opportunities.
Yeah.
Get those highly touted rookies on the court. With rookie minicamp, though, outside of J.J. McCarthy, is there somebody, and I'm going to a guy here in particular, is there somebody that you've thought about, like, I wonder how that works.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what that's physically going to look like as practices, at least in a very non-combative form, start taking place in the weekend. And it brings me to Alec Lewis's piece, and it came out this morning. Alec, of course, young Alec, you hear him weekly with us. He's awesome, and he just wrote an article. He's so good on these get-to-know-you vibes that he puts out on The Athletic, and this one's about Kyrie Jackson, the 4th-round corner from Oregon. And he put a quote in there from Oregon coach Dan Lanning. It says, if you were designing a team in Madden, this is what you'd want your corner to look like. That's what Dan Lanning says of Kyrie Jackson. He compares him to former first-rounder Dre Kirkpatrick, but probably faster. Longtime NFL cornerback Joey Thomas adds, Kyrie has Pro Bowl talent.
Wow.
Now, part of this story as well, and Alec does a great job chronologically running through it. Great, and Kyrie's mother is a massive part of this story as well in terms of just where he was. He's employee of the month. He's doing rotisserie chicken. He's working at Six Flags. He's working at Chipotle.
Wasn't he slicing ham at like a butcher shop?
All kinds of different things. Oh, yeah, and he played for Saban, too. Like that, it's a story.
Yeah.
And Alec chronicled all of it, so check it out. But Kyrie Jackson, when I'm thinking about, I wonder what this looks like. How does this work? 5 different schools, and the ebbs and flows of the last half decade for this kid is worthy of an article and worthy of eyeballs this weekend as rookie minicamp lifts off.
Yeah, and it's rookie camp is strange in that if the quarterback doesn't have the right receivers, it doesn't look like it will look at minicamp or training camp.
It's going to be a lot on Gabe Henderson's shoulders this weekend. Catch those slants.
No, he's going to be over working for Cheryl Reeve, trying to devise some Caitlin Clark schemes for like a game in June or July. But anyway, if you're a receiver and you don't have the right quarterback, well, then rookie camp it's going to be effective with installation related things from a schematic standpoint, but it's the right quarterback, the right receiver that obviously makes a difference. Turner v. Rouse whenever they line up and do things like that. I would imagine if there are one-on-one drills, they'll be looking at things like that closely. I'm very, very excited to see J.J. McCarthy. I met him the day after the draft at the Vikings Entertainment Network, just very briefly. And then we had him on 9 to noon the following Monday. But I'm just, now that I'm starting to learn more about him from other people who know more about it than me and us, or putting in my own work, I'm just, I'm really, really excited about him. And I'm also not willing, I'm not going to put a percentage on it, but, I'm closer to believing that he can play game one against whomever than I was, say, last week. I mean, if it's God and you got to be right, or it's heaven or hell, then I would say Darnold starts game one.
Yeah.
But there's one thing, eventually as the week goes on and we start getting into McCarthy, because I have some copious notes that I've taken on him of late. It's like in the NFL, 3, 5, and 7 step drops. Those are, that's gridiron gospel. That's what quarterbacks do. He's on a 3-step drop, a 5-step drop, a 7-step drop. Now, and with McCarthy and the way he does it, it's in essence a 2, 4, or 6. And it's just different when you watch him set up on what should be a 3, 5, or 7, but it actually is a 2, 4, or 6. And it's with Kevin O'Connell, the accuracy piece is first and foremost, and we've shared that 9 to noon before. But the hash mark to the sideline, right to left, left to right, that matters a lot to Kevin also.
Yeah.
And J.J. McCarthy has beyond a live arm with that. It's a live arm, but it's all caps, L-I-V-E, because I've recently seen him go right hash, left sideline, left hash, right boundary, throw players open with fastballs. And his spiral, man, I can't wait to be at rookie camp just to hear that ball cut through the wind, because that's how he throws.
Yeah.
And I was excited when it happened. 9 to noon with Nordo and I, with Drake May or J.J. McCarthy. We were cool with it, man. We just wanted a quarterback like most. And Kwesi found his way to one. But now that I'm learning more about J.J. McCarthy, I'm really excited for this young man's future.
And that's Vikings rookie camp. That's going to be the first opportunity for people to see and to learn about not only JJ, but Dallas Turner, all the draft picks, 17 undrafted free agencies into the mix. I had CJ Ham on Friday, former camp tryout.
Yeah.
And now he's entering his 9th season with the team, 8th on the roster.
So CJ was a Thielen and Marcus Sherrill's tryout bid?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
I didn't know that.
And so he ends up making the team. I think it's practice squad. Let's call it 2016-ish.
Yeah.
And then I think his first... I shouldn't say I don't. I think it was. Remember that awful game, Keenum's debut in 2017?
Oh, Pittsburgh.
Martavis Bryant getting loose, the whole thing. And 5th year from Houston, here we go. And then we got, who made the throw to Blake Bell on the fake punt?
Oh, Ryan, no.
Was it Quigley or Locke?
Yeah, Ryan Quigley.
I think it may have been Quigley.
It was Quigley.
Yeah, and Zimmer was like, no, we'll never fake.
Yeah, J.J. McCarthy, right hash, left boundary, in. Ryan Quigley, right hash, left sideline, out.
But CJ's first carry in the NFL was the lone touchdown, I believe, for the Vikings in that game.
That's right.
But CJ camp tryout, I don't know who exactly the names are, but everybody vying for an NFL spot. Mm-hmm. And maybe become the next 8th year and now a captain, as CJ Ham is. The NHL.
Hold on, but in fairness, I said this last week, and I want to re-emphasize it, because when I hear or come across things like this, they matter. And subsequently, given 9 to noon serves you, because you actually make the choice to listen to us, so we serve you. We like to share whenever we get things like this. But at the draft party, after Vikings running back Aaron Jones was on the show, I'm chatting with Aaron, who I'm getting to know a little bit, as we're at break. And I just said, what do you think of Sam Darnold? And then he whipped his head and looked at me, and his eyes got wide. He went wide-eyed, and he said, I had no idea he could spin it like that. So, whether it's playing catch, I don't know what's permitted under the collective bargaining agreement with what they can and can't do at this stage of organized team activities, voluntary as they are. But reading between the lines with Jones, he was like a lot of us, paraphrasing or guessing. I've never watched him play that closely. He plays offense. I play offense. I ain't watching his film. Nobody cared about the Jets. Nobody cared about the Panthers. And he was a backup for the 49ers. Wow, can he spin the ball? So that was like Aaron, who, by the way, has caught passes from Aaron Rodgers. That is a player saying he throws a catchable pass. I had no idea that his skill set was where it is, still relatively young in his career. And there's at least one member of the offense in Aaron Jones who's quite impressed with Sam Darnold.
Well, and Aaron Jones currently in the league. This guy, things did not work out for him in the NFL, but I had this. Johnny Manziel has a podcast on the Action Network.
Yeah.
I think that's a betting site. And he said this about Sam Darnold. I truly feel, based off of who Sam Darnold is in that room, whoever comes to Minnesota, if they indeed go with a quarterback in the draft, they're going to have their hands full with Sam Darnold. I know that may raise a little bit of red flags and raise a couple of heads up off the table, but Sam Darnold can play football. That guy can sling the rock. He was drafted where he was for a reason, and he's been waiting for a situation like this. So when you look at the Vikings, you have to ask yourself, is McCarthy an upgrade over what they have currently in the quarterback room? So That's Manziel. Now, on the field, didn't really work out and all of that. But that's what people are kind of quiet. Nobody's getting loud about it in a big way because the natural comeback from anybody. And I think Sam Darnold has a chance to start. Well, what about the Jets?
Yeah.
What didn't he do with the Carolina Panthers? It's immediate. It's bust all day long. Right. Kid's still young, and people in the game apparently appreciate what he potentially could still offer.
And I'm not going to grandstand and make a grandiose prediction that Darnold's going to go 38 TDs, 5 picks, and the team's going to win the division. But I will get loud about this, and I have gotten relatively loud about it ever since the opportunity emerged for Sam Darnold. This is on Sam, okay?
Yep.
This is on Sam Darnold because you were drafted third because of your skill set. And so there are things and intangibles and nuance to you, your mind, your heart, and your life that nobody possibly could know unless they're with you. Well, the coaching staff will know that. And this is, again, it's people, specifically Packers fans, right after Green Bay lost to the Niners. When I say Jordan Love is a system quarterback, A, I'm right, you're wrong. And B, it's not bad to be a system quarterback. Ask Joe Montana. A system quarterback at this stage of the equation is required here. So what goes into that? Follow the plan. Know the game, know the playbook, and know it inside and out like Cuzbuzz. Be accurate, throw players open, and we'll get up and down the field. And then if it gets to be desperate, you got to go a little willy-nilly. Well, Cousins did it. Stafford could do it. When the context of the game leaves the scheme and it becomes more street ball.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Sam needs to do that. Maybe he couldn't do that with the Jets or the Panthers. Didn't you see him with the Jets? Didn't you see him with the Panthers? Is one of the more lazy arguments, defenses, or comebacks regarding something like that I think I've ever heard. Now,
I just think it's easy to bet against somebody getting better. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like whatever you've seen most recently, that's all it can ever be.
Right.
For a guy in his mid-20s, I think it's tough maybe to peg him and peg him like that. But here we are, and he's got more weapons and a great opportunity.
But to go down the road of it was like that there twice, so it'll be like that here, that's just lazy. That's just a lazy piece of analysis without contextualizing along the way, which I've yet to hear because context seems to be a waning art. But nevertheless, with Sam, when I get loud, it's like, Sam, it's right in front of you, man. It's right in front of you. Yes, offensive linemen will get beat. Yes, wide receivers will drop passes. Yes, you will be sacked. But this opportunity is the greatest opportunity you've had in your professional career. And there's a better than average chance that you're going to be the starting quarterback. So A, be motivated to keep the kid on the bench. B, follow the plan. And C, believe in the gifts God has given you to get you to this level in the first place. And then you do all that, and everything should be okay.
That's Vikes Bites, brought to you by Thousand Hills, Lifetime Grazed, grass-fed beef.
Jim Peterson, analyst for Minnesota Timberwolves basketball from the Mile Get High City, about 20 minutes from now. News Do Mad Producer is around the corner on your home for the Howl, FM 100.3, KFAN.
Hey, welcome back. It's News du Nord. News du Nord is brought to you by The Casino at Canterbury Park. So go to CanterburyPark.com. Well, just go to Canterbury, actually, and feel the felt all year round. And that's poker, it's blackjack, it's table games. You're seeing Derek Allen, PA's kid, having sips at chips. This last weekend, another absolute knockout Derby Day party at Canterbury. And we're still, well, I shouldn't say still, we're less than 2 weeks away from live racing at Canterbury. So get to CanterburyPark.com for all event details and the liftoff of the 2024 season. And I'm hitting you with this to start News du Nord is our buddies at Clear Cut Exteriors, PA, the Clear Cut clip of the week. And loved your interview with Chris Finch this morning. Perfect way to start the week, 9 to noon, with the head coach off the Game 1 win and a game day chat as we are mere hours, less than 12 hours away from hopefully getting another chance at a victory in Game 2 tonight. You'll hear that on these airwaves, tip-off shortly after 9 p.m. But you asked Chris Finch about Karl Anthony Towns and those fouls. He had 5 in Game 1. What did Chris Finch have to say? Your clear-cut clip of the week.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I think, well, first of all, the foul on the jump ball, I mean, my God, I don't think I've ever seen that before, and I'm not even sure, who tied up who with the play on. There's a zero advantage game to it. So that one was a tough one. I mean, he's going to have, he's been drawing tough assignments here, he's been guarding Jokic last series, he guarded Durant. When you're guarding those guys, you have six eyes of officials on you all the time, right, because of the amount of attention. So anything like that, not super clean gets whistled against you. He's done a good job of avoiding the offensive fouls, which is the ones that really kind of hinder him in his ability to play. But like the other day, I normally would have let him play with the 3 fouls, but I just, I knew that as we were going to get to some lineups down the road, I needed him out there, with the extra foul in his pocket to be able to play. So, he's done a good job, I think, of managing it, honestly, and we are fortunately deep enough to be able to survive some of that. But his postseason has been understated, very, very good for us.
I'm glad you kept that last part in because the checking of Kevin Durant and then into checking Nikola Jokic. Okay, I mean, they're both HOF. Karl has done mostly a good job on them. But, it's like what I was talking about earlier is, and I saw this on Twitter, and then I talked to somebody about it. It's where in the pick and roll game, say Karl Anthony Towns is on Nikola Jokic, and then there's the pick. All right, well, Karl would, the person guarding Jokic off the pick is now designated to chase the picker in the pick and roll, or the guy with the ball. And they're letting the player with the ball streak free down the key because they're Stifle Tower waiting as part of this 85 Bears defensive scheme. Well, Karl Anthony Towns' awareness, mostly with all of that, has been as good as I've ever seen in his career. Without Karl Anthony Towns and the third quarter Saturday, you might not win the game. And to belly up and body up to Kevin Durant and then Jokic, back-to-back series, yeah, there will be fouls. But Karl Anthony Towns in that third quarter, when he was initiating the offense, like the clap, get me the ball down by the block. Yeah. He was as in control, I think, as anybody's seen him in quite some time. Elbows weren't flailing. He wasn't getting his feet tied up. And he was either making it and getting to the line. So Karl Anthony Towns and his postseason performances being, quote, understated, end quote, courtesy of Chris Finch. That's an excellent selection by Mad Producer for the Clear Cut Exteriors clip of the day. And if you need your roof analyzed or you need some work with your exterior, the exterior of your home, do know the owner/owners of Clear Cut Exteriors are massive fans of the Howl. ClearCutExteriors.com.
The Minnesota Twins got beat up a bit yesterday, but that's after winning their 11th and 12th in a row against the Red Sox on Friday and Saturday. So the win streak ends at 12, but all the same, they're back in the mix here. 2.5 games back from the Guardians, second place in the Central. You had Twins president Dave St. Peter on, and of course, winning ways, love that. Seattle in town. But the TV contract was a big part of that conversation, and clearly there's no resolution at this time. And so, unfortunately, the Twins president not able to shine a good light on when fans will get more access to Twins games. Twins are kind of stuck because of their choice to re-up with Diamond and Bally's. That's where it really sits. But in the meantime, Twins are still winning their games for the most part, just won the series against the Red Sox. Now they get a chance with Seattle in town, another 4 at Target Field. Get back to their winning ways. Simeon Woods Richardson has really kind of been a bright spot as a guy getting reps. And a big part of this, by the way, his last 2 starts were against the Chicago White Sox. Yeah. So that certainly doesn't hurt to go against a team that's on the verge maybe of being historically bad. I think the 03 Tigers had the fewest wins, and I forget, like 40-some, just ridiculous. But in the end, Simeon Woods Richardson on the mound today. ERA, mid-2s, handling business. Seattle at Target Field for 4. Let's go win another series.
Yeah, and I'm not in the Fubo covenant. I'm not in the DirecTV covenant. So, therefore, I'm following the Twins on my phone or listening to them on the radio.
Yeah.
And I'd like to say, raise your hands if you were quite familiar with Cooper Criswell, the starter for the Red Sox yesterday. I wasn't.
No.
But then after listening to the game and, reading up on him just a little bit and looking at the box, I mean, holy cow, my man could pitch a little bit. I mean, because he stymied an offense that had been quite hot for the better part of 2 weeks and change. So, I don't know. I mean, I thought JoJo pitched okay yesterday. But, they Twins took a 1-0 lead. Then it was 1-1 when the Red Sox jumped up 3-1. For whatever the reason, there was your dagger, because then they eventually won 9-2. But it's very unfortunate for not only the team, but, dedicated fans to the red, white, and blue of baseball immortality who want to watch the games. Yep. I mean, you got like Nordo and I, specifically me, I can't speak for him and his household, but Twins would be on the TV one way or another most days during the course of the week. If only like while you're getting something ready or doing stuff.
Always check it in, yeah.
As opposed to, pretending, unless you're compensated to do so, or you're teaching Billy, Johnny, Christy, Susie, Antoine, or Tamika how to play the game, really, really honing in on every pitch. And, well, Billy, it's a great time to hit the other way. Billy, look how far he's leading off second. He's probably going a little too far with those steps and everything. But to have it on and just have the option to watch it, I'm like, I can't believe it's been at least twice that I've gone there and been like, oh, that's right. Oh, that sucks. I mean, what a freaking ridiculous situation. The more we honestly think about it, why hasn't this happened in other sports? Well, forget the NFL because the image is all locked up with the ticket and everything, but this is just stupid. Seriously,
it absolutely is. Wrapping up NDN, and we'll continue the hoops conversation with Jim Peterson around the corner. But just some notes here. Cavs beat the Magic in a Game 7 to move on. Celtics haven't played a game in what feels like a year. So Game 1, Cavs and Celts tomorrow. Knicks and Indy, Game 1 tonight. That's the early game, 6:30 p.m. And I think tomorrow is when the Mavericks and OKC begin battle as well. So the NBA playoff series are set, and looking forward to that.
Yeah, and I am too, and OKC should win that series. But everything 9 to noon shared off watching that game, Dallas against Miami late in the season with Jimmy Butler playing on the road, where I couldn't wait to get back. I think we might have been at TCO Performance Center, where I just couldn't wait to crack the microphone and say, hey, I watch a lot of this. What I saw last night between those two, I've never seen it. They're loving each other. They're helping each other up. They're sharing its agenda-free basketball.
Yeah.
So then in patented 9 to noon fashion, of course, they get whooped in game number 1 off the 6-day layoff. but they didn't get whooped that much anymore.
No.
And Luka and Kyrie and Gafford, who they acquired from the Wizards. PJ Washington is physical and he's hitting corner threes. The Mavericks mean business, but I can't see them beating this young, spry OKC squad. And if it ends up being Oklahoma City and the Minnesota Timberwolves, that could be the best pairing from a viewing standpoint you can get in the Western Conference.
Be entertaining.
And I will start laying this out here. I brought it up with Chris Finch during the season months ago, and I've seen it multiple times. The one player in the NBA who I have seen play Anthony Edwards better than anybody is Lou Dort. And people are like, Lou Dort, we're happy for you. Who is he? Okay. If they meet, you'll know. He's big, physical, he ain't afraid, and he's fast. And he's giving Ant problems. That's then, this is now, which includes Jim Peterson from the Mile Get High City on KFAN.